Hey, it's Coach Jamison and Coach Bam with Go to Plus. Today we're going to be going through a nice little hip circuit to awaken those hips, get some things loose. Again, if you're feeling whether it's tight, soreness, discomfort, pain, or maybe you just want to work into the hips a little bit, this will be a nice little short 10-minute sequence you can go through. Again, make it longer if you want. Some of the stretches we hit, we're going to just be hitting for about a minute today. If they feel good, get that bonus work. Go maybe 2, even 3 minutes if you want. Again, we're just going to go through the shorter versions of everything today, so let's get started. We're going to come into tabletop. We're going to our hip stretch first, and what we're going to do is step that left foot back. We're going to bring that right foot in just a little bit. We're going to just come into our little pigeon stretch here. I'm going to have Bam sit back into that right hip. Again, this isn't a position we're just going to dump into. We're going to sit back, keep the pressure on that right side, and then we're going to drop the elbows down. From here, we're going to pull that right elbow back just a little bit more and then reach that left arm up and across the midline. There we go. So you can see what we're working here now. Bam's keeping the pressure into this right hip. I wanted to also start bringing a little bit of breath into this left side of the body so we can bring some length into this left side. And a little double whammy as we work through this stretch, getting into that hip. This isn't a position we're just trying to dump into for the sake of getting into the position. We're really trying to maintain the whole pressure as we're into this stretch, more of an active stretch. We're going to hold this, like I said, minimum 60 seconds. Bonus work if you get upwards of 2, even 3 minutes. You're going to feel this really good. You can start to melt into that position. Go about 15 more seconds here. You can bring a little rocking movement if you want. Just again, get intuitive with the body. Listen to what it's telling you. Feel it out. Good. We're going to slowly come out. We're just going to transition to the other side. Same thing. We'll set it up nice and strong from foundation. Tabletop here. We'll step that right foot back. Make sure that heel's cornering away. We're going to swing that left foot in. And we're going to start sitting back, walking the hands back into that left hip. We're going to drop that back knee and foot down. Hands to the ground, left arm's going to pull back, right arm up and across the midline this time. Really reach with those fingertips, find some length into that right side body. We're again going to keep some activity going on here. He's going to be gently pressing that back shin, top of the foot into the mat, gently pressing this front shin and foot into the mat. Again, this isn't something we're just going to dump into the joints. We're going to hold a nice strong position here. Breath now will come to that right side of the body. You see Bam's getting a nice, good side bend here with the spine. So hitting that hip, hitting side bend, opening up the tissues on that lateral side of the body. Something we could all use. We're all a little stiff in that midline. About 15 more seconds here. Nice. And again, you can see he's really trying to reach and get long. Bam. All right, we're going to slowly sit back out of this. We're going to come back to our tabletop. We're going to set our knees out to our 45. If you want a good cue for this, just think roughly about 2 fist widths apart, maybe just a little bit more depending on your limbs, how big you are. So we'll be set on that 45. We're going to bring our hands down and forward. Now we're just going to go into our child rockers here. Again, this is really working back chain. Notice Bam's hands, they're acting as the feet would. We want to be on that outside edge, strong side of the hand, and we're just going to rock. You don't need to get super deep. I'm not looking to get the butt all the way down to the heels. I'm just working to get into this back chain position, hips sitting behind the ribs, and finding that nice little groove point. We're just going to pulse here. Sitting the hips back, working into that back chain, working into the hips. Now, for some reason, you are getting a lot of pinching or tension into the quad still. You're not able to get into this backside, into the glutes and hammies. We can elevate the hands. So taking the hands like a couch, a chair, a bench of some sort will help you kind of open this angle up and get more into the backside. I'm going to be here for about 15 more seconds. Again, this is a 60-second movement here. The longer the better. Feel free to hit these for a couple minutes. You're going to really, really feel good into those hips, greasing up those joints. Nice. A few more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to stay in the same position. Now we're just gonna kind of frame that right leg. I'm gonna have Bam take his hands just to the right, so we're kind of trying to frame that right thigh. He's gonna bring the pressure into that right side. That left leg, we should be able to pretty much lift up, keeping all the pressure onto that right leg or right knee. And then we're just gonna sit back and we'll work that one side. Now, if we wanna get a little deeper into this too, we can walk the right hand back a little bit. Think of a little bit of a side bend. Bam's head's falling into that right column, and again, now we're just bringing the pressure in the rocker into this right hip. So again, we all tend to have these asymmetries where one side tends to feel tighter than the other, whether it's that right hip, right low back, left low back. If that's you, doing these, you're gonna be able to feel that side that's really tight, and we can work it a little bit more than the opposite. Really grooving just into that one hip capsule. Again, if you're finding it hard to get in the back chain, you're feeling a lot of pressure in your quad, hip area, we can elevate the hands, bring them onto a bench or box. Have Bam switch to the other side. We'll just show you what it looks like. If it's hard for you, again, to find that back chain, to find that hammy, to find the glute, we can elevate the hands up. We can kind of open this up a little bit more, create that space so we can really start getting into the tissues on that back side. Again, we should be able to find glute, hammy here, really getting those to start to work. And muscles that have just been a little, I'm not gonna say turned off, but they just haven't been working properly from things like the chair. We've all been sitting for a long time. So these are these simple positions, again, that you can just hone into daily to really start helping work out those discomforts and pains you're feeling in the back and hips. Got about 15 more seconds here. Again, these are ones you're gonna hit 60 seconds per side. It's a little extra credit if you get longer. Nice, a few more seconds here. Good. All right, now we're gonna sit back. And you saw that's how we use the bench to kind of elevate ourselves. If we can't get into that back chain, use a couch, chair, whatever you have at home to utilize. Next, we're gonna go into a little side-to-side rocker. So you're gonna think of that same single side rocker, and then we're just gonna corner it over to the other side. We'll have the top of the feet down. We'll rock the hips over, sit back into that right side, and then we're gonna corner. Then we're gonna come up out of it into that left side, and then sit back into the left, corner over, come on out. And what I want you to notice, we're just trying to get those thighs to roll a little bit. Get that femur to spin up in that hip capsule. Rocking side to side again, bringing a lot of movement into this area that's just kind of locked up. These tissues have just been locked up on us for a while from our lack of movement and just living in that front chain position with the hips forward, from living in the chair. We've all been there since we were young. Again, there's no right or wrong pace. Feel through it slow at first. There's no rush to just knock these reps out. Slow it down. If it feels good to stand to one side, we can kind of rock it into one side and swing it back and forth as we please. Got about 15 more seconds here. Again, we're going through the short version, 60 seconds of most of these movements. Increase the time at your own liking. Good. Notice he's staying nice and long in that spine. Eyes and chest are always up. We're never dumping the head forward, looking towards the ground. We're always maintaining length as best as we can. Nice, Bam. We'll get one more to each side here. Good. He's going to stay in position. He's just going to sit his butt all the way back now. We're just going to go on the corner rockers, sitting those hips all the way back. Now we'll just bring those hips side to side. We'll kind of take the little up and down motion out of the rocker here. Again, if you're one that has a lot of back discomfort and tightness, this is a really good one to get things open. Open on that back plane. Again, think chest up and only sit as far back as you can while maintaining a nice long posture, nice long spine. We don't want to be here rounded out in this position. So if we got to come out a little bit to get nice and long in that spine, do so. Again, notice Bam's thighs and femurs here kind of spinning into out. Just opening up things in here. Getting that hip capsule to move is going to bring a lot of relief into that low back area. All this stuff in here is connected. Nice, last 15 seconds. See, we can go hands unsupported, bring a little more pressure. And you can bring your hands up. We can keep the hands down. We can go hands up on an elevated surface if needed as well. Give yourself as much support and modification as you need. All right, our next position we're going to move into now is a dynamic pigeon. So we're going to come back to that first pigeon stretch position we're in. And we'll start by stepping that left leg back. We'll swing that right foot in just a little bit again. And now we're going to sit, walk back into that hip. We're going to keep the hands on the mat this time. Elbows aren't coming down. And we're just going to sit and pulse just like our single side rocker, but now we have the back foot sitting into a corner. We have all this pressure now into this right column. Bam, just working this right hip, pulsing again, trying to find back chain. This is again difficult for you, that you're finding a lot of tension towards that front side. We can elevate the hands onto the bench as we did earlier. And we're just gonna pulse this. Again, find that position. It doesn't have to be any crazy range of motion, rocking all the way back and all the way out. Find a nice little pulse. Find that pressure, find that tension on that back side, and rock into it. Good, you can notice his back leg. Again, we want this heel away position, top of the foot down towards the mat. We can slide that shin up and down the mat if we want. We can keep it elevated if we want a little more pressure into that hip. Three, two, one. Nice, bam. Let's switch it up to the other side. Same, right foot's gonna go back. We're gonna swing that left leg in. And we're gonna walk back now, find pressure in that left hip. You'll notice Bam's got that left hand sitting back a little bit further than that right one, working that little bit of side bend. Head's falling right over this left column now. Just finding now everything's in this left side. Notice nice long spine, chest and eyes are always up. Again, we're progressing these from the more simplified versions of the child rockers now into this dynamic pigeon. Same shape, just on the other side. Back heels away, mimicking the corner with that releasing side. Last 15 seconds here. Nice. 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're gonna come out. We're gonna sit back now. We're gonna come into our little dragonfly rockers. We're gonna start again, 45 set. We have the option of bringing the knees in if we want to, but we're gonna go knees out just so we can really work that bow to corner, work that whole wave of the motion in the hip. And now we're gonna sit back as we come forward. We're gonna pull those feet apart and dragonfly the feet, or dragonfly the hips out. So we're sitting back, feet pull apart as we rock forward. Again, focusing on this rotation coming from the hip. Thighs out, thighs in. Again, we really got to pay attention to the feet and low back here. Some of the things that are going to happen when you rock forward is this low back is really going to want to round out. That's a no-no. We want to keep that spine long. Notice this nice curvature in the low back. Tailbone's up to the sky, chest is up forward. The other thing we're going to really pay attention to is the feet. As you rock out here, your feet are going to want to turn toes out. We want, yep, like this. This is no-no. We want to keep those big toes in, keep the heels out. That's going to be the work. Again, any sort of cramping sensations or things you feel on the feet, totally normal. Feet are working in a way they haven't in a while. We're getting that arch to work. And again, really focus on that thigh. We're open, rotating, closed. Last 10 seconds here. And then we're going to progress this here to 2 points. Right now, Bam's on all 6. We're going to be kicking this back here to just our 2 feet. 3, 2, 1. Good. Relax. Let's go ahead now, tuck those toes. Now we're just going to come in a little bow corner flow. That was our easier variation. Now we're just going to take this up to 2 feet. We're going to tuck the toes. We're going to sit back into our bolt squat. And we're going to go right in from our bolt squat. We're going to shoot the hips up. We're going to corner and then we're gonna rep these out. So you ready? Here we go. Let's go butt up, corner, heels up and away, knees shoot in, and then we're gonna sit right back into our bow. Again, this is gonna be a difficult one for most of you to hit at first. I want you to notice Bam into this position. We'll show you how to modify it. Again, notice the kneecaps, notice the thighs, everything's opening, and then we're cornering it, closing out, knees in. Notice the strong platform of the feet. All 5 toes are staying down. Big toe has light pressure. We're keeping pressure more towards this outside pivot point. Heels stay up and away as we corner. I'm going to rep out a few more here, and then we're going to give you the option with the bench and to elevate this. That's a little more difficult for you guys to get down onto the floor here. All right, Bam, let's show them how we hit it with hands elevated. Come get a little side profile here, give you a different view so you can also see back chain. And it's going to be the same thing. We're just not going to go as deep, or we can. Again, it's up to you. We're going to get down, set that nice bow, hips shoot up. We're going to corner, keeping the hips back. When we have our hands elevated, we can do our best to keep our eyes forward and chest up, staying long. Nice, Bam. And again, keeping all the toes down. Don't let that big toe come up. Maintain inside ankle bone high as best you can. Main chain, back chain. You're going to be feeling a lot of work firing into those hammies, and a lot of work even down to here, to this foundation, where we still have a lot of work to do and a lot of strength in building. Let's get 3, 2, and 1. We'll release, come back down to the mat. We'll just finish going a little side-to-side rockers just to let everything release after all that work. Again, go through that whole sequence. Follow along. Feel free to increase any of the movements for time. If you find something that's feeling good, dip into it a little bit deeper, whether it's the stretch or any of those rocker motions we went into. I'm Coach Jamison. This is Coach Bam, and we are out of here. Yeah, buddy.